Hi everyone, we're back. Our next presentation are going to be by Tabitha Mutia, who are going to present their work, Two Sides of a Coin, Benefits, Risks, and the Solutions Therein. And Lydia Atto, who will present their work, Youth Inclusion in Advancing the Agenda of Peace. Over to you guys.
Thank you. I hope I can be heard clearly. So my name is Tabitha Mutia, and I'm a Kenyan youth, as well as being a legal scholar and researcher. And to that end, I also work with Amnesty International as a legal researcher. And well, I will be presenting a paper that I wrote, a research paper on AI and its effects, its benefits, and what the United Nations can then do to intervene with regards to its risks. So I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, thank you. So as has been said, I will be presenting on a research paper called Two Sides of a Coin, a case study of artificial intelligence, its benefits, risks, and the solutions therein. So essentially, this will be talking about technology in as far as artificial intelligence is concerned, its benefits as far as the security and peace is concerned, and risks and the solutions therein that can be adopted. So we can start with discussing what artificial intelligence or AI is. So artificial intelligence, in this case, then refers to the ability of machines to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, just perception, reasoning, and decision-making, and problem solving. So essentially, AI systems normally use algorithms to analyze and learn from data in order to make predictions or decisions based on that data. So to just cap it all and just simplify that definition, it's simply the simulation of human intelligence processed by machines. So having understood what AI really is, then we'll just jump directly into the benefits of using artificial intelligence in the security sector. So first of all, AI, as you know, or perhaps it is the common perception that AI is technology, yes. However, AI, due to its ability to decision make or to perceive things more than any other technology that is there, might be one of the most advanced technology that we have. So to that extent then, when it comes to the security sector, there are several things that can really help if you're using AI. So first of all, it improves situational awareness. Now this means that AI can help provide real-time information and analysis to decision makers. So normally this information can be used to track and analyze conflict zones, natural disasters, and other events that may impact national or global security. So secondly, that it can be able to detect threats early and provide early warning disasters, pandemics, and other emergencies. So normally what this helps is that it helps governments and organizations prepare and respond quickly and effectively. Moreover, to that extent, then it can also help in crisis management and response because it is able to detect these things really early, and so that the decision makers who are making decisions as to the security involved can then make the decisions really early and on time to save lives or to just protect the global or the national security therein. Of course, it also has predictive analysis, which means that AI or artificial intelligence can help identify patterns and predict potential security threats. Now, normally this helps governments and organizations prepare for and prevent potential security threats before they occur. So this can be very, very, very helpful and makes you succeed further. Then, of course, it also helps in cybersecurity. Normally, what this means is that it's able to identify and respond to threats in real time, right? Such that it's not too late to make a decision, it's not too or rather it's never too late, because AI is always going to be there as a helper, so that it can ensure that it prevents cyber attacks and minimize the damage that is caused by them. It also enhances border security by providing real-time surveillance and detection of potential threats. Now, this can help prevent illegal activities such as drug trafficking, human trafficking, terrorism, name it, all kinds of things with regards to security. AI is your go-to technology. Having stated all the benefits, then there are also risks that are involved when it comes to artificial intelligence. As we know, technology is not fully self-sufficient. It also has its own challenges and its own malfunctioning or whatever it is that takes place. So of course, risks are involved when it comes to AI. So first of all, it can malfunction. Now, normally, what this means is that it can lead to unintended consequences, which could harm national security and public safety. For example, a misconfigured AI algorithm in the defense system could result in the wrong target being selected, leading to unintended civilian casualties. So this is quite a huge risk, putting all this onto AI. And then, of course, there's bias and discrimination. Now, what this means is that AI systems can be biased if they are trained on biased data, leading to discrimination against certain groups. For example, facial recognition technology has been shown to have higher error rates when identifying people of color and women. So that means that then it works against these certain groups rather than for them. And then there are also cybersecurity threats to that end. And as much as it helps in cybersecurity, there are also threats that can also be identified. So it can be vulnerable to cyber attacks, which also could lead to sensitive information being stolen or systems being compromised. Now, what that means is that it could be hacked, or it could be compromised in such a manner that it is used for something that it was never made for. Such that if you have an AI that was made for a particular thing, then somebody can easily hack into that system and make it do something that is completely out of its breadth or out of what it was made to do. And of course, there's also misuse of AI technology, because some people then tend to use this AI for malicious purposes, such as in cyber warfare or the development of autonomous weapon systems. So the issue with AI is that its technology, unlike bombs or missiles or guns, it's hard to detect it, or it's hard to counter effect it rather. So it can be quite a challenge to that extent. And there's also lack of transparency and accountability, because AI can be quite opaque, making it difficult to understand how they make decisions. Now, this lack of transparency can make it challenging to hold individuals or organizations accountable for any errors or wrongdoing, to an extent where perhaps it might be hard to identify who made the AI, who is controlling this AI and such matters. So then there is lack of accountability or transparency. And one of the major issues as well is unemployment, meaning that AI has the potential to displace jobs in the peace and security sector, which could have economic and social consequences. I think AI has been a lot in the recent worldly issues. And yes, there's also that issue. Now we're going to get into what the United Nations can do to ensure that these risks are mitigated, or the kind of things that the UN can then help to ensure that the AI no longer poses such a high level risk to the global and national security. So first of all, the United Nations can develop international norms and standards. Now, these norms and standards will promote transparency that is rarely there, accountability, supervision, and the protection of human rights in the development and use of AI technologies. So this is really, really, really important if the AI is then controlled in such a manner that is able to mitigate all these risks that it poses against national and global security. Additionally, it should be ensured that tech-related businesses and organizations consent to increase inspection such that AI-related issues are inspected, or rather that these technologies are thoroughly inspected to ensure that there is no maliciousness and there is no cost that is going to be harmful rather than helpful. And then the United Nations could also promote responsible innovation. Now, this means that the United Nations can then call on governments and the private sector to promote responsible innovation in the development and use of AI technologies in the security sector. Now, this includes investing in research and development, promoting diversity and inclusivity in AI development, and ensuring that AI is developed and used in ways that is aligned with the United Nations SDGs, which is really crucial and really important if that is to happen and should actually happen. And then the United Nations should also ensure human oversight and control. This means that AI should not work single-handedly without any kind of supervision. That there's supposed to be some kind of human judgment that is supposed to incorporate the AI effective use and thus its effective control. So that means that you ensure that humans are involved in the decision-making processes and that AI technologies are not used to replace human judgment entirely, because then they might be biased or they might be hacked or something might happen and it's not always assured that they will do what they're supposed to do, right? So there is serious need for human intervention in that matter. Then the United Nations can also address the impact of AI on human rights. Now, as a human rights advocate, then this issue is quite almost personal for me, because I think that the United Nations should call for the development of AI systems that respect human rights in the security sector. Now, this includes rights such as the right to privacy, freedom of expression, freedom against non-discrimination and equality, and many others. There's so many rights that can be encompassed in this usage, such that AI is limited from violating these rights. So this includes developing safeguards to prevent the misuse of AI in surveillance, law enforcement, and other contexts to ensure that regardless of how it's being used, human rights are always abided by at all times. And then there's also use, or rather foster, international cooperations between different stakeholders that are there in the United Nations to ensure that researchers, organizations, civil actors, NGOs are there to ensure that there is a certain cohesiveness when it comes to decision making in ensuring that AI is effectively controlled. Then there's also supposed to be to craft suitable regulations. Now, 85 states during the CCWGGE's first session in 2018, they publicly clarified their views on deadly autonomous weapon systems. And some promote the creation of legally enforceable agreement on fully autonomous weapons. Now, the thing is, developments in AI are already influencing complex conversations about the focus and justification of policies and the best kind of regulation. Now, normally this includes precautionary measures or the doctrine of precautionarity, preventive measures, reactiveness, and even the combination of all three to ensure that AIs, as they're being made, as they're being invented, as they're being used, as they're being taken to the field for usage in the security sector, then they abide by certain rules, that they abide by certain regulations that should be implemented in an international sphere. So apart from that, then I also think that the AI should also, the United Nations should also apply all those laws that apply to the regulations of artificial intelligence, such as the United Nations Charter, amongst other regulations therein. However, the issue with that, and as a legal researcher, then I can tell you with confidence that specificity is key when it comes to these laws. And thus, there hasn't been any treaty or any law or any regulation that has specifically tackled the issues on AI or technology for that matter. And that means that there is need to adopt a new treaty or new regulations or a new convention for that matter to ensure that AI-related issues or these technologies then are thoroughly and completely regulated in an international sphere, such that countries are also supposed to abide by that new treaty. So this includes the involvement of international human rights law, international humanitarian law, and international criminal law, since this is a security and peace-related issue with regards to AI. And finally, the engagement of youths and even children for that matter, because as youth, then I think that we are better able to understand these technologies because we have been exposed to these issues since birth. I mean, we have grown up with technology and we understand and we have a deep understanding of its capabilities and its limitations. So this kind of understanding can also be very useful in identifying potential security threats and developing effective solutions therein. They're also able to bring fresh perspective ideas to the table. Normally, they're able to challenge established norms and think outside the box rather than what has already been there. Then they will come up with new solutions, new regulations, new things, because they understand what issues are being tackled in its entirety. Now, this is especially valuable in the security sector where innovation and adaptability is very essential. Now, it is also important to create a culture of inclusivity and diversity in the security sector as well, especially in matters of artificial intelligence, where youth from different backgrounds and perspectives are encouraged to participate. So to ensure that all youth from all over the world, all countries are involved when it comes to matters AI. So this can also help to ensure that AI systems are developed with the needs and interests of all stakeholders in mind. And with that, then I think I'd make a conclusion that indeed AI is very useful. AI is our friend, not our enemy. And being a technology, then it is also posed to several risks therein. However, even with those risks included, then there can be solutions that can be adopted by the United Nations and stakeholders that are in that area to ensure that AI is used for what it's supposed to be used. And that has been my research paper, and that is my presentation. Thank you so much.
Hi, Lydia. Over to you. Give me just a second to get your slides up.
Okay. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone.
You should be able to see it now.
Yes, I am. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Lydia Atto, and I'm from Nigeria. I'm an advocate for peace and education. I want to thank the organization and the organizers of this forum for the opportunity to actually contribute to this wonderful high-level event. So I'll be presenting my article on youth inclusion in advancing the agenda of peace, presented by myself, Lydia Atto. The next slide, please. Okay, so the 75th anniversary of the United Nations, member states pledged to strengthen global governance, for the sake of the present and the future generations. The UN 75 Declaration noted the need to promote peace and prevent conflict. The Secretary General's report on a common agenda noted the new agenda of peace to address a myriad of challenges the international community faces today. In this respect, 6 potential areas for the new agenda of peace were outlined. The agenda to invest in prevention and peace building correlates with youth inclusion in advancing the agenda of peace. Young people have shown that they are able to play an active role, particularly at the grassroots and local levels as peacemakers, mediators, and peace builders. Several research on peace building has revealed that young people face significant barriers to inclusion, support, and acknowledgement in peace processes. Hence, the ability to contribute towards the agenda of peace is significantly reduced. This article aims to highlight the importance of youth inclusion in advancing the agenda of peace and profiles solutions to the different challenges faced by youth in advancing peace. The next slide, please. The next slide should be introduction, yes. According to TACAS, peace building is a long-term or continuous process which mitigates conflict by operating with various activities like mediation, like negotiation, etc. It's the way of starting the gradual sustainable development of a country or society. The sustainability and success of the peace building process greatly depends on different peace building approaches, mechanisms, and activities. There are many actors of peace building across the globe that has their own positions and assigned role in peace building. Youths are one of the actors of peace building, according to DIO 2018. The inclusion of youth in peace building processes is bound to facilitate sustainable peace in a society by redirecting the energies of young people to the implementation of constructive peace projects. Incorporation and utilization of youth in peace building processes would facilitate their transformation from the agents of violence, conflict, to the agents of peace in their society. In most African, let me not generalize, in some African countries, we get to see where the youth are used for or used as agents for violence or conflict. I believe that the young individuals have a lot of energy. We have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of visions. So we should be included in peace building processes, because if youth or young individuals are included in peace building processes, then we are included. We're included in the sustainability of these peace processes. Because when we know that, oh, we are meant to contribute to this peace building process, we are meant to show that we are actually interested in building peace, then we will not be interested in conflict or use as tools as violence. Please, the next page. The youths. Youths are underestimated as positive agents of change and key actors in peace building, both by policymakers and academics. Felix and Wesser, 2007. The youths are products of their communities and they are key agents to peace building. Having experienced conflict, youth have key roles to play in peace processes. That's what I was just trying to explain. Since they have a clear vision of what peace could look like in their communities and countries. Indeed, if youth can be such a strong social unit that can impact an entire nation, why do people overlook these crucial resources? Youth voices should be included in current peace-related issues in general, implementing policies and activities. Please, the next slide. Now, let's go into youth contribution to peace. Youth-led organizations. Young people open channels and spaces for youth from across diverse backgrounds to work together and build a shared vision of a peaceful world. An example is a youth organization in Kenya called the Youth Cafe. This organization is Africa's largest convening community of professionals, harnessing youth advocacy, policy, and research for social impact with over 3,500 member organizations and over 947,000 individual members aged between 18 to 35, virtually from every country in Africa. Apart from the Youth Cafe, we also, here in Africa, we also have the Yali Network. That's the Young African Leaders Initiative Network. The Yali Network harnesses youth in the sense that they provide resources for youth to get engaged, get trained in being a good leader, etc. So when youth come together to form organizations, to be part of organizations, to be harnessed with leadership skills, to come together to think of solutions and ideas on how we can contribute to peace building, on how we can contribute to climate change, on how we can contribute to the different sustainable development goals, then youth will be fully involved in contributing towards the development of not just their country, of not just their society, but also the world at large. The youth are the leading providers of peace, resilience, stability, and security in Africa. They work hard to curb violence, extremism, prevent man-made and natural conflicts, and strengthen young people's proactive roles in regional peace and security. Cooperation, youth work together to achieve different goals. This was gotten from so many researches, but also firsthand I've experienced this. When youth come together to cooperate, to create solutions, etc. Last year, I was part of the delegation for Younger, kind of like an invitation for the United Nations, where youth come together from different countries to talk about or bring solutions and ideas that can help the five thematic tracks we have. That was education, peace, equality, gender equality, I think decent work and environment, I think, and also climate change. Working with different youths around the world, young individuals, young leaders, young change makers, was a very impactful event for me, and I won't lie, I really learned a lot. I also contributed and I really enjoyed it. So you can see that a lot of youths are ready to cooperate, to contribute, and to see that the world, their country and their society and community, most importantly, become or is sustainable for all. So cooperation, youth work together to achieve different goals. They collaborate with different organizations using development programs. Thank you. Using development programs to promote peace building processes. The development programs can include social media campaigns, outreach in areas affected by conflict. I know so many young individuals that own their own organization in Nigeria and in some other African countries and other countries in the world, and are doing great things. So when young minds come together, leading their own organizations, coming to work in a particular area, trust me, they go, the solutions is always 100. The ideas are always amazing. So youth come together to organize campaigns, educate other young individuals on the importance of peace building, participating in conferences or high-level events on peace building, etc. Youth development through sports. In Nigeria, different initiatives have been undertaken to promote youth development through sports, including the 2018 football tournament organized by Lagos by the Honorable Ademola Richard Kasumi, recalling the words of FIFA President Ifanito. The potential of sports to promote peace and the rule of law appears unlimited. In Nigeria, football is life to some young individuals. They engage themselves through sports, and this helps them build a resilience and team building spirit amongst themselves. When people come together, cooperate together, have some fun of bond that brings them together, that unites them, then definitely there is nothing they cannot, there's no obstacle they cannot conquer together. Challenges and recommendations, lack of experience and qualifications. Young people are often excluded because of the perceived lack of experience and qualifications. Their practical and lived experience in conflict areas and within their communities is not sufficiently taken into account, according to Yulia and Azil, 2021. The United Nations Office of Disarmament Affairs, that recently introduced a course for youth in disarmament. I've taken this course, and it's one of the few courses I've taken as a peace advocate and education advocate that gives a basic introduction to disarmament and peace building. It's important to provide trainings and internship opportunities for youth to build their skills and to take an active part in peace building. After graduation in 2018, I was lucky enough to find an organization to intern with. The organization basically was a humanitarian organization that took care of the northeast region of Nigeria that was affected by some insurgencies and conflicts. So these opportunities are not readily available. Apart from some courses I've taken in UNITA, that's the United Nations Institute of Training and Research, it's very difficult to find courses on like peace building or peace education. That's to facilitate the youth on how to start. Maybe someone that wants to go into this full time. Because truthfully, yes, we get to school, we get educated and everything, but then this education is not enough. It's not enough for us to contribute our own quota. Like I suggest that more organizations should create more internship opportunities, and it should not be so rigid. It can be hybrid, online, physical. Those that can't make it to or if they can't provide funding for for accommodation and flight ticket and everything, they can youth can actually contribute from wherever they are to whatever organization for peace building. So lack of setup and support platform for youth. I recommend that platforms should be set up to represent their voices and experiences to partner with each other to work towards peace together. Youth access to funds. No, please, the next slide here. Youth access to funds is limited. They rarely have access to a sustainable flow of funds that will support their work on the ground without any interruption. I recommend a sustained provisions of funds, technical resources, and guidance to support youth-led peace initiatives of different types. I know a lot of young individuals that are leading organizations without funds. Some try to do this just by themselves, maybe fundraising events, etc. But I feel if there's a structure in place to support youth-led organizations that maybe are interested in maybe advocating for peace in their community, because I personally believe that peace building should start from our communities. If there are no wars in our communities, if there are no wars or conflicts in our neighborhood, then it will be easier for us to take this to the national level. It will also be easier for us to take this from the national level to the country, from the country to relations and relating with other countries, etc. So so thank you. That's basically that. Thank you once again for the opportunity to present. I'm grateful.
Thank you so much, Lydia. I'm also sure that you can share this presentation with us. As you also are aware, our meeting is being recorded. So most of the people will be able to access this recording from our websites. And thank you so much for all the important, integral and essential work that you are doing in your area. From the schedules, you can also see the titles of papers that have been authored both by Tabitha and by Lydia, and you can access them online. Thank you so much. Our next presentation is Jorge Valderrabano, who's from Agora. And just a little backgrounder, Agora is a platform that enhances electoral accountability by interviewing and assessing political candidates and making all relevant information about them available on an unbiased digital platform. Over to you.
Hello, thank you very much. Hope that you can listen to me because, yeah, it's. But my name is Jorge. I am the co-founder of Agora. I'm having technical problems, so I don't know if anyone can help me by like sharing the presentation, the PowerPoint that I prepared, or if it's not possible. I can try to do it from my device. But well, in general, Agora is an organization that has been increasing the political participation of youth. This is a project that was created while we were in the university, aiming to provide opportunities for young people to participate and to be able to make their voices heard at decision-making spaces, and mainly in in social media and in other platforms, but also in political spaces, no, where laws and resolutions are adopted, so that our necessities are included in these processes. Thank you very much for the support. This is a slide that might need to be fixed, but mainly we've been organizing conferences and webinars to describe the importance of including youth in politics, and also we've been supporting young people for drafting and implementing projects at the local level, for understanding which are the necessities at the community level, which are some opportunities to implement in order to to reincorporate the communities that have been vulnerable by public policies, and to also to use the public spaces for politics, no, and for understanding the challenges that we are facing at every level. And finally, it's also been a journey for increasing the participation in media, in many spaces. Yeah, so the next slide, please. So the project that I'm gonna discuss today is it's named Candidaturas de Jóvenes 2021. This is an organization that is based in Mexico, although I'm currently in New York because I am studying my master's here at NYU. But this project was mainly aiming to get involved in the electoral process in 2021. This was an opportunity not only for visibilizing which are the channels and the mechanisms that young people can use in order to participate, but also for increasing participation in as running for candidate or as a voter. No, so this project was aiming to create a platform in a website, which is the image that you can see on the right, where it's possible to make a consultation about the young people that are running for office, that are aiming to get to a decision-making space, and this could be consulted based on the if voters were trying to know the proposals of deputies at the local, or people who were running for deputies at the local level or at the federal level, or even people who were running as governors. So yeah, the platform displayed candidates under 35 years old. In Mexico, the limit to be considered as a young person is up to 30 years. However, it was very challenging to be able to find enough candidates to display in the platforms who were under 30 years old, which is why we increased the limit for considering a candidate as a young person to 35 years old. And the Agora made a partnership with the Electoral Institute in Mexico in order to have access to the databases of the people who were running for candidates or were aiming to be in charge of an office, in order to know like their demographic characteristics, like how old were they, where they were coming from, but most importantly their proposals. So this database was included in the website that we built, and it was an opportunity for consulting, like the main thematic areas for each candidate in each jurisdiction in Mexico. So this was a project that facilitated young people to to showcase their proposals and what and why they were aiming to run for candidates. But it's a platform that is mostly helpful for voters to get informed and to be participating in this process in an inclusive manner. So yeah, and the platform is not the only component of the project. The project was accompanied by a social media campaign, and this is mostly relevant because it's a way in which we were able to incorporate the youth peace and security agenda in this whole project for people that, well, and it's very like interesting to know that there are other people that are also focusing on this agenda in these sessions, because it's a very important agenda aiming to increase the participation of young people in peace building, in conflict resolution, in negotiations for reducing violence, or for addressing structural problems. So yeah, this project created a campaign in order to ask the institutions, mainly the National Electoral Institute in Mexico, to know what they are doing to increase the participation of young people in peace building, in electoral processes, in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. To other, we also interviewed other institutions such as the National Security Institute, inquiring about like any mechanisms or any tools that young people can use in order to participate safely in the electoral process. Violence is a situation that characterized the electoral process in Mexico in 2021. Many candidates were like facing, like violence by illegal groups, criminal organizations, no, like corruption is also a characteristic of the environment in Mexico, which is an element that usually accompanies violence. So yeah, it was also important to ask, no, to inquire about the tools or or how young people can participate in this process safely. So yeah, this was also an effort to include the Security Institute in Mexico. But most importantly, the campaign and the platform allowed us to get in touch with the candidates, no, and make them notice that the youth peace and security agenda was an important topic to include in their own proposals, no. And we were inquiring also about like their projects or their policies that they were aiming to promote when they get to be deputies or to be governors, no, and how those projects or policies were related to the youth peace and security agenda, if they were aiming to reduce the violences that young people are facing at the community level, or if they were aiming to increase the participation of youth in policy making or in peace building processes. Something very relevant that is happening in Mexico right now is the issuance of a general law at the federal level to consider young people as subject of human rights, no, for really guaranteeing rights for youth. Because nowadays the laws and the Constitution recognizes young people as a population to protect, no, and this is an approach that is a kind of adult centric, and it's not necessarily fulfilling the necessities of young people. So yeah, this campaign was an opportunity for increasing interest in the youth peace and security agenda among the politicians that were already in office, but also for the candidates and the people that were aiming to run for office. So yeah, we interviewed some of the candidates, as you can see in the video, which is on the left, and young people were able to like share their experiences, their trajectory, to learn more about the problems that the young people who were running for candidates identified at their communities, no, in their own jurisdictions, in order to like kind of notice if these necessities identified are matching what young people from civil society are identifying as problems to be solved. So yeah, this was a very comprehensive project, because it's not only using technology for increasing access to participation and for promoting the youth peace and security agenda, but also it is like informing voters about the trends and on the most interesting areas that candidates are focusing on and how they can participate in the whole process. So nowadays, it's the upcoming elections in Mexico are happening next year in 2024, and it's going to be a big event, because not only local deputies and federal deputies are going to be elected or re-elected, and governors at the state level, but most importantly, the president of the country. You know, so it would be very helpful and like interesting to see a candidate who is under 35 years old running for being a president of the country. And of course, that this is a process that if this happens, it's a process that Agora is aiming to support. And now with this project, there is kind of like a background or a base to approach the candidates themselves or other institutions to make sure that young people can run for office in a safe environment, and that voters can decide about their next politicians in an inclusive and safe and in a safe environment, and also to notice like what are the which continues to be the challenges for an inclusive participation, but most importantly, which are the next items to consider in the agenda, no, within the youth peace and security agenda. And this could be like the reduction of armed violence, or the reduction in terms of youth, like the reduction of forced recruitment by criminal organizations towards young people, no? But most, like in other topics, it's necessary to also have a firm position about what does it look like to fulfill the necessities of youth in terms of peace and security, but also in terms of sustainability, no, in terms of participation, in terms of education. So this project allows to get more in touch with the public institutions and with the candidates in order to continue discussing about these topics, and to get consensus about the priorities and the strategic tracks to follow in order to fulfill necessities at the local level. So yeah, this is where we are at in Mexico. And in Agora, we also wanted to use this opportunity of participating in these sessions in order to like share our experience and inspire other young people to do similar projects in their countries. And if there's anyone willing to conduct a project like this one, let me know. And in Agora, we'd be eager to support any of these efforts. But mostly it's an opportunity for finding sponsorship, no, and support from other stakeholders, member states, agencies, the private sector, in order to make sure that that the project has all the resources and elements necessary to increase and promote the participation of youth in decision making, in policy making, and in the electoral process next year, and to continue positioning in the agenda the necessity of focusing on the youth peace and security issues in the country, and to promote the participation of youth in peace building. So yes, so this is the project, and let me share my email address in the chat box in order to continue in touch. And I would like to thank all of you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Jorge. As they mentioned, it's a very, very important political project in today's age, where the youth requires a lot of engagement. The gap between politicians, leaders, and their electorates is increasing, and I believe in that. regard their project is so important, so essential to advancing democracies. If I can ask one question, Jorge, if it will be possible, could you tell us what led to the innovation of Agora? What was your idea behind developing Agora? Not just, I mean, from a very if there is any personal story attached to it. And the second question that our team wanted to ask was, what do you think is the future that you see for Agora? Do you want to give it much more detail and analysis for your country, or do you think that it's a template that can be utilized by other countries in the world also? Thank you.
Sure, thank you for your questions. Yeah, I'm happy to open the discussion for other people who wants to participate or inquire anything. So the Agora is an organization that was born mainly to increase the participation of youth in politics, no? And this, like, Agora is the name of the place in the ancient Greece where the citizens of the polis would gather and they would discuss about the current challenges and opportunities for improving our communities, no? Like what's been going on in terms of culture, no? In terms of the history, in terms of the external challenges or actors to consider. So this is what we wanted to replicate in the organization, no? Like to serve as a space for youth to gather and to reflect about the opportunities for participating and which are the elements to consider in order to have a better community. So yeah, this is like the aim of the organization. And this project specifically was trying to give us an excuse to participate in the electoral process, no? So there were some other efforts being carried out by other organizations that are not necessarily focusing on youth, mainly and during the electoral process, mainly doing like forums or consultations or position papers on very specific topics, no? Like yeah, what should be the future of education, no? Which should be the priority areas for reducing corruption in the country, no? Which are like kind of hot topics in Mexico. So yeah, this is the process that inspired us to do something more innovative, no? And because we could have also been doing consultations and position papers in order to have consensus on the main areas to address regarding youth and peace and security. However, like the use of technology and innovation allowed us to create something bigger, no? Like to build this project, which we actually implemented in collaboration with two other civil society organizations, which have presence more at the national level, no? And this also allowed us to have more of an impact, no? And to spread our message to other territories within the country. So yeah, this and using a platform, a website, is also more attractive for young people to participate and to consult it, no? And to make their questions and to and this communications campaign was also calling for young people to contact their candidates, no? And to ask them about their priority areas, no? Because this peace and security is an umbrella agenda, no? It's not necessarily the focus of most young people, no? But there might be subtopics or other topics that are relevant for youth and haven't been covered by us, and it's also an opportunity for to keeping informed about the areas that each young people considers important. So yeah, this was a chance to reunite the proposals and the young people that were participating in the process, no? From civil society organizations, but also from the candidate side and from the voter side. And this in 2021, this wasn't mostly used for advocacy, like we didn't have the enough resources, or like we didn't invest the efforts to do advocacy with the proposals, or a follow-up with the candidates, to make sure that what they proposed is actually being implemented. However, in the elections that are coming next year in 2024, this is the aim, no? Like identify which are the candidates that were actually elected and have more of a close relationship with them in order to support them for the implementation of projects or strategies for fulfilling the necessities of youth, or the implementation of the youth peace and security agenda, and for collaborating, like not only with the candidates but with other institutions, such as the electoral institution of the security institution, in order to issue protocols, to make sure that youth can participate safely, and that they know which are the mechanisms for participating from the institutional side. So yeah, this is like kind of the future that we are aiming to achieve very soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And for everyone with us here, one more time, that was Jorge Valderrabano. They are from Agora, which is a platform that enhances electoral accountability by interviewing and assessing political candidates and making all relevant information about them available on an unbiased digital platform. Thank you so much for being here with us. I would encourage you to stay with us, because we also have more speakers coming up right after,